Welcome back to another episode of BBP News. I'm Chris Baker with the lovely company of Nick Rod on the day after Thanksgiving. And as promised, we have good news stories for a Thanksgiving week. Some are Thanksgiving related and some aren't. Nick, take it away.
All right, so let's just jump into it. And since Thanksgiving was yesterday, let's jump in with a couple of our Thanksgiving good news stories. So the first one comes from our home state, Chris, New York. And 66-year-old Marty Rogers has been named a saint in his community in the South Bronx. Because for the past 40 years, over 40 years in fact, he has been running a dinner in his community church. Now, at first, this dinner was served to just senior citizens who wanted to just have a nice dinner for Thanksgiving and didn't have any other family to visit or have that dinner with. So it was for them. However, over time, it actually expanded and turned into a dinner served to both senior citizens and the homeless. Um, and so, like I said, this has been going on for over 40 years now, and Roger says it's just nice to go around and be able to, serve these people, ask how their meal is, and to actually see them not be able to eat another bite, see them full, see them happy. And, you know, with COVID-19, things like this, community events have become very difficult. Because of safety reasons and trying to stop the spread and everything. But that has not stopped this dinner from continuing, as they, starting last year, actually raised money to take the dinner on the road, and they have delivered it to these people both last year, and they're doing the same thing this year. So, just good job to Marty for taking all of this on and for so long, and for just doing so much for the community.
What a wonderful good news story. A tradition that's been going on for 40 years, and the COVID-19 pandemic did not stop it. They adapted it to it. They are now delivering the meals to, the senior citizens and the homeless to make sure everyone gets a Thanksgiving meal. That is awesome because, let's be honest, everyone looks forward to the Thanksgiving meal most of all.
Yeah,
So that's all I really
exactly.
got to say. Everyone's getting their meal. It's 40 years long, unstoppable, unbeatable, yada, yada, yada of the best.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think to think about it, 40 years is a long time to do something like this. He's 66 years old now. You wouldn't blame him for starting to slow down with this and start to take it easy a little bit. But no, he's continuing to put in all this effort, especially over the past couple of years with how difficult it's become to hold these events. He's had to figure out how to adapt it so that they could um, get the meals to people without being in person, and to take that on and to help raise the money for it and to put in the effort to deliver them, just incredible, absolutely amazing.
Nick, what do you got for your second good news story?
All right, so our other Thanksgiving story actually also takes place in New York, so sticking near home. And there is a law firm in central New York that actually hands out turkeys to veterans for free for Thanksgiving. And they've been doing this for 12 years now, and the owners of the law firm were actually former veterans themselves. They were part of the Army, and they have taken that and they decided that they wanted to help these veterans in any way that they could. So they hand out turkeys. They've handed out hundreds of them over the past 12 years. Hundreds of turkeys to veterans from all different branches of the U.S. military, from, the Army, Marines, you name it. And it's cool because they just like to joke around with the Marines, or not even just the Marines, but the veterans. Um, Because if you know about the military, the branches like to, take jabs at each other now and again for being from different branches. So to have that humor and those smiles and to be able to hand out these turkeys and this Thanksgiving food to the veterans to help them out, that's absolutely, it's huge.
Nick, I love this good news story because it's a successful law firm in New York, and the owners of the law firm are going back to their roots and handing out free turkeys to service members, having a good time, and really going back to their roots of being grateful for their service, telling stories, sharing, joking and things like that, and just going back to their roots and kind of stepping away from their the life that they live right now to go back and help people that are living through what they lived through.
Well, and one thing I love about this too is that it really expands the nature of Thanksgiving. Because when we think of a Thanksgiving meal and when we think of the Thanksgiving day, we typically think family. We typically think, our parents, siblings, grandparents, cousins, whatever. We think of getting together with that direct family. But this story proves that family goes beyond just those, that we share blood with. It goes back to, who we have served with. It goes back to all these different things. All these people were part of the military. These law firm owners were part of the military, and they're helping their, military comrades in these times. So just, it's an amazing community tie. It's an amazing family tie. Just a wonderful story.
I agree with you, Nick. What do you have for your third good news story?
All right, so now we move into the stories that aren't Thanksgiving based. And this was just a really cool story, as it almost came out of a Hallmark movie, right? And back in 2003, going back a ways, there were two people who were stuck in the airport in the winter, dealing with, at that time, delayed flights that turned to canceled flights. But it turned out to be one of the best moments of their lives, because Chris and Jennifer were both stuck waiting for their flights, because there had been heavy snowfall and there was continuing snowfall, and so planes couldn't really get up in the air at that time. Well, eventually the flights were canceled, and both Chris and Jennifer had really hit it off. They were talking as they were waiting, and there were even other people who were, waiting for their flights that thought that they were a couple, even though they had just met that day. Well, what ended up happening is Chris took it upon himself to find a way to get both of them to their destinations. So Jennifer was trying to get to her best friend's wedding, and at this point, she thought she had all but missed it. Chris pulled off a miracle, though. They ended up flying together to Winnipeg, and they stayed with one of his friends, and then he made sure that she got a flight to her friend's wedding the next morning, and she actually managed to arrive on time and still show up and be there for her friend because she was also part of the ceremony. But it doesn't even stop there, because within 3 months of all this happening, the two were engaged and getting together. And the miracles don't even start there, because Jennifer had gone through cervical cancer when she was younger, and the doctor said that it was very unlikely because of this that she would ever become pregnant. Well, to their surprise,
she's pregnant?
To their surprise, they ended up having 2 children. Not 1, but 2. And now, years later, the children are in their teens. They're still happily married. And the whole thing, like I said at the beginning, is like a Hallmark movie. Just absolutely magical.
What can I say? Chris's are romantics. They know exactly how to pull off miracles. In my non-biased opinion, people named Chris are just the best people around.
You know, for real though, reading the story, you almost wouldn't think it'd be real life. Like, this story is
Now,
straight out of a movie.
Chris, I have a question for you, and be completely honest with me.
Okay.
Were you accidentally on Hallmark reading movie descriptions instead of finding good news stories?
Well, sometimes I get confused, sometimes I get mixed up. Hallmark is just, it's so attention grabbing, But this time, nope, this is real life. This actually happened, and as unbelievable it is, this is real life.
Okay. But I do believe Hallmark should contact Jennifer and Chris and create a
Turn this into
movie.
a script. Yeah.
Yes. I love that good news story, Nick. That is definitely a Hallmark movie waiting to happen. What do you got for your fourth good news story?
All right, so story number 4 takes place in Brazil. You know how we like to go around the world in these good news episodes? Well, here we go. So, in Brazil, there is a man going a long way to help animals and to make sure that they have, comfortable beds to actually sleep in. So, here's what went down. So, a man happened upon a pile of tires that had just been thrown away, and he took them home, cleaned them up, and he was wondering exactly what he wanted to do with them when he had an idea. He took a jigsaw and he cut off the tops of the tires. He then used a piece of plywood to cover the hole in the bottom part, and then made handmade mattresses to put on top of them to create beds for cats and dogs, and I guess really any other pet that you wanted to use this bed for. And he even went beyond that. The mattresses were handmade. He also painted each one. Painted them all himself. And to this point, he has made beds for over 6,000 pets. I repeat that, 6,000 pets. And he has given a lot of them away to shelters, so that those animals, while they're in the shelter, can have comfortable and nice bedding. But he has even sold them as well, so that general pet owners could have them as well. And he's continuing to do this, and just continuing to try and provide for these pets. And just kind of crazy that he's actually taken on this effort to make 6,000. Again, I have to repeat that because it's so many.
Crafty, crafty, crafty. Now I feel guilty for throwing out tires when we get new tires.
Well, now you have an idea. When you have tires that you don't need anymore, if you have a jigsaw laying around or some way to cut them up, some way to cut the tops off, just do that. Create a bed. You have pets,
See,
Chris.
here's the thing, Nick. Here's the thing. I have
Uh-huh.
a jigsaw, and I probably have all the materials to turn it into a bed, but I'm not that crafty.
Oh, come on. You could do it.
And with my luck, I would figure out how to do it, and neither one of my pets would give a flying turkey about it.
Yeah, I
They'd be
mean,
like, "Great, this is great. Can I scratch it and chew on it?"
yeah, I mean, we've seen at least Annie here on the show before, and even in the times that she's appeared on the show, she never seems like the type that's willing to just kind of lay down and just enjoy a nice pet bed.
And then Fuzzy, on the other hand, would just want to scratch the out of it. And like right now, we have a Fuzzball on top of my desk, and we have an Annie down below with her bone in her mouth trying to taunt the cat.
Yeah, so
No
your
beds
pets
for them.
your pets may not love the beds, but 6,000 pets in Brazil have gotten have been able to have this bedding and been helped by this man who just, again, happened upon these tires. He didn't go looking for them. He wasn't like searching for this. Just happened to come up with the idea. Creativity and pet love at its best.
Nick, what do you have for your fifth good news story?
All right, so my fifth and final story for this morning, just I have no words for this one. A baby defied all odds of survival and set a world record all at the same time. So what happened was little Curtis was born like 19 weeks early, essentially. He was born after 21 weeks. And he weighed about 13 ounces, which, for reference, is about the weight of a soccer ball. And he was officially named by the Guinness Book of World Records as the most, premature and earliest birth ever. But that's not where this stops. As he actually responded to treatment, they got him into round the clock care in the hospital. Giving him oxygen and slowly, feeding him, and he responded extremely, extremely well to the treatment as he slowly became stronger and stronger and began gaining weight. And 9 months later, he was released from the hospital, and he was released to go home. Still needed some care, still needed some, certain accommodations at home for a while. But as time went on, months later now, he has really, grown into his own. His mother says that he is absolutely full of energy. She's tuckered out by him, and his siblings, are taking care of him as well. And so he, again, defied all odds. In fact, the doctors originally gave him a 1% chance of survival. 1%. And he completely turned that around and said, nope, I'm getting through this. I'm surviving. And now he is home and healthy with his family.
I love this. Defying all odds, not giving up. From the family side of that, he's home, happy. Of course, ongoing care is needed, but generally, you could probably say he's happy and healthy. And I just love it. 1% odds, he was that 1%.
We hear stories of premature birth and how scary it is for the child's health, because premature birth can be extremely dangerous. And for Curtis to be born so early and to have such a little chance of survival, but then to respond so well, that kind of strength and that determination from the moment he was born, just, there are no words for that. Just, it's beautiful, it's amazing, and it just, best wishes for everything that comes for that family and for Curtis from here on.
I love that, Nick. You found 5 great good news stories for this special edition good news episode. We will be back here Monday morning with a news episode, so all the news heading into your work week after, your long weekend. And then, believe it or not, after or the first Saturday of December will be that week, and Nick will be back here with another Saturday episode of Good News. And Nick, I don't know about you, but it feels like we just did Saturday Good News for November.
These months are flying by, and I can't believe it, because you're right. I was just thinking about it before we started talking about these stories here, is that it feels like, a week ago when we were doing Good News for November. So to think that December's already here, and the good news stories for December are already here. Just crazy. But I can't wait. I love good news, so I'm excited.
We will be back here Monday morning, like I said. But until then, make sure you follow us, BBP News, on Twitter for the latest 24-hour breaking news. Check out our personal accounts and head over to Medium and see what we're writing about over there. But until Monday morning, Have a good rest of your long weekend, everybody, and bye.
Bye, guys.